Every galactic year, the Galactic Federation would make a challenge party, inviting all of the member species to compete for a prize in credits. The challenge this year was to achieve orbit in Meridia, a Type 5 death world, roughly 1.5 times the size of Earth. Due to the high gravity, the Galactic Federation allowed anti-gravity technology to be used. We would have one galactic cycle to prepare for the challenge. Roughly 2 galactic days later, my fleet found a new species. They named themselves humans. The first contact was very peaceful. The commander of the human ship talked in a low, serious tone, and was willing to talk about the politics of entering the Galactic Federation. That meant they needed to inform us of their homeworld environment, their species classification, their diet, things like that. I remember vividly when they gave us the status of their home world. It was a death world, one of Type 4. It had a lot of natural disasters, was tectonically active, and had a high gravity. I was responsible for introducing them to the rest of the Galactic Federation. They sent one of their representatives. After he signed some paperwork in order to finish the introduction process, we headed to the daily meeting at the Galactic Center. The human representative responded to a lot of questions about them and how they survived on a death world. Eventually, the Thermon representative spoke up. The rest of the meeting members stopped talking immediately. The Thermons were a fierce species and one of the founders of the Galactic Federation. TR equals Thermon representative. HR equals human representative. Alright, human. It's an honor to receive another species to the Galactic Federation. I would like to invite your species to something. Not long ago, the Galactic Federation held the 10th Challenge Party. I would like to invite your species to the competition. It doesn't seem to be that much of a problem, so yeah, humanity would like to participate. Alright then, I will send you the information of the planet where the challenge will be held, and what is the challenge in question. I also need you to send us the technology level of your species. A few minutes later, the Frumon representative spoke again. It appears that your species still needs to discover anti-gravity technology. I am afraid you won't be able to participate. That won't be a problem. We can do it the traditional way. What do you mean by that? I asked. We are going to use a chemical-propelled rocket. A few seconds later, almost all of the representatives present in the meeting, including myself, started to laugh. Do you really think it's possible to get to orbit around Meridia with a chemical rocket? Tell me another joke, one of them said between laughs. The human kept a serious face. He didn't even flinch at the comments from others. Silence and order! Even with the Fremont representative yelling at us to stop laughing, it still took some time for us to stop. Hundreds of galactic days later, we were heading for Meridia. My crew was afraid of landing there, even though the planet was only a Type 5, due to the insane gravity. We strapped on our exoskeletons and left our ship. It would take us some time to get the craft we designed out of the cargo compartment. Then I looked out of the hangar and saw something unbelievable. A gigantic rocket. It looked to be 100 galactic length units tall, 150 meters. It was strapped to 8 appendages, coming from a tower that was right beside it, but the most outstanding feature were the 30 cone-like structures at the base of it. It had a flag on its side too. Then I was approached by a human. He greeted me. I couldn't help but notice that he was using an extremely thin exoskeleton, but I think that is due to their nature. He was an engineer and was responsible for that rocket, which was now leaking a bit of smoke. He gave me some info about their creation, like the fuel of choice, its dimensions, and the liftoff thrust, which, according to him, was 28.6 million kilograms. It would be the last machine to take off due to fuel pressurization problems. I could already hear the laugh of other engineers from the teams of other species. Some were betting that the thing the humans brought wouldn't even leave the ground. Oh, how wrong they were. It took all day for the participants to launch their creations. Many failed to reach orbit, including ours. Then it was the turn of the humans. Many were laughing silently. They thought they would fail miserably. 20 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12. 11. Starting ignition sequence. 8. A lot of hydrogen oxide started to flood the ground around the weird cone structures. It looks like there is some sort of leaking, I thought. Then, in a bright flash of light, the weird cones roared to life and started to throw flames out of their openings, which then turned into a pillar of red, yellow, and black, being spat out at a high speed. The entire building we were in started to shake. I could feel as my own bones were vibrating due to the sound shockwaves coming from the rocket the humans brought. -1. All engines running, liftoff confirmed. The 8 appendages that were previously holding the rocket quickly retracted. The rocket started to climb. That was a vision that shut all of the participants up. They could just look in awe, yeah. It was primitive, but it was sure badass. It had multiple stages which allowed it to get rid of excess weight. A curious solution that proved to be extremely effective. It staged a total of 4 times. Everyone clapped and cheered more as the rocket kept climbing through the atmosphere. It got to orbit with fuel to spare, which allowed it to place the tiny satellite that it carried in a high orbit. To this day, the satellite is still there working like a tourist attraction, and as a proof that, sometimes, obsolete technology can still do the job.